Something happened to me 3 weeks ago, and to this day, I can't explain it. My name is Marcus. I'm 38 years old. I've been a truck driver for 15 years. I've driven more miles than most people will in their entire lives. I know every stretch of I-40, every gas station between Memphis and Amarillo, every cheap motel where the neon lights flash all night. I used to say the road was my home, but after the divorce, I realized it was just an excuse. The truth is, I didn't have a home anymore. Sarah got the house. She got Ethan, my 7-year-old son. She got everything that mattered. I got the truck, the deliveries, the nights alone in rooms that smell of mold and cheap disinfectant. That Thursday night, I had been on the road for 14 hours. I left Little Rock before dawn, carrying a load of automotive parts to Oklahoma City, tight deadline, heavy traffic, a light rain that wouldn't stop. My eyes were burning. My eyelids felt heavy. I had promised to call Ethan before he went to sleep, but it was already past 10 o'clock at night. He hadn't answered my calls for 2 weeks. Sarah said he was angry with me for missing his birthday. I didn't miss it on purpose. The company changed my route at the last minute. I tried to explain. But how do you explain to a 7-year-old that work comes before them? How do you explain that you're not a bad father? You're just too tired to be good. The rain intensified. The windshield wipers groaned in a hypnotic rhythm. I almost closed my eyes twice. I nearly veered off the road. I decided to stop. I saw the sign. Pinewood Motor Lodge, 2 miles. Why? It wasn't a place I knew, but it didn't matter. A motel is a motel. Bed, shower, silence. That's all I needed. I left the highway and took a narrow back road, surrounded by tall, gnarled pine trees. The rain beat against the cabin roof like fingernails scratching metal. There were no other cars. There were no lights, except my headlights cutting through the darkness. The motel appeared as a faded stain in the night. A single-story L-shaped building with dirty brick walls and a peeling red tile roof. A neon sign flashed above the reception area, vacancies. The letter G was erased. I parked the truck near the entrance. The engine died with a heavy sigh, as if it too were exhausted. I grabbed my backpack and got out. The rain was lighter now, almost a drizzle. The air smelled of wet earth and something else. Something sweet and rotten, like dying flowers. The reception area was small. Faux wood walls, cracked linoleum floor, a counter with stained formica. Behind the counter, a woman in her 60s, her grey hair tied in a loose bun, was reading a crossword puzzle magazine. She didn't even look up when I entered. "Good evening," I said. She turned a page. "Single room. Try." $52. I paid in cash. She handed me a key attached to a green plastic keychain with the number 12 recorded. "Breakfast from 6 to 9. No refunds, no visitors." His voice was monotonous, almost robotic. "Thanks." She didn't answer. I left the reception area and walked through the parking lot to room 12. It was at the end of the outside corridor, the last door before the pine grove that surrounded the motel. The paint on the door was peeling. The lock creaked when I turned the key. The room was exactly what I expected. A double bed with a worn beige bedspread. A bedside table with a mismatched lamp. An old tube TV on a scratched dresser. A leaky window air conditioner. The smell of old cigarettes and citrus cleaning product. I threw my backpack on the chair and sat on the edge of the bed. The springs groaned. I picked up my cell phone, 3% battery. I called Ethan. He called 4 times. Sarah answered. "Marcus." "Hi, I just wanted to talk to him." "He's already asleep." "Sarah, please, just a minute." Silence. Then she hung up. I stared at the black screen of my phone. I felt a tightening in my chest. It wasn't anger. It was worse. It was emptiness. I got up and went to the bathroom. Cracked white tiles, frosted plastic shower stall, sink with a dripping faucet. I turned on the hot water in the shower and let the steam fill the room. I took off my clothes. I went in. The hot water burned my skin, but it felt good. It felt real. I closed my eyes and let the water wash away the exhaustion, the loneliness, the guilt. When I left, the mirror was fogged up. I dried myself with the rough towel and went back to the room. I ate a gas station sandwich that was in my backpack. I turned on the TV. Local news. Police are still searching for 6-year-old Emily Cordell, who has been missing for 4 days in a nearby rural area. I switched off. I didn't want to think about missing children. I didn't want to think about anything. I turned off the light. I lay down. The bed was hard, but I was too tired to care. I closed my eyes and sleep. For a while. I woke up without knowing what time it was. The room was plunged into a thick darkness, the kind of darkness that feels heavy. The air conditioner hummed softly, a constant, numbing sound. I turned in bed. The springs creaked too loudly for the silence of the night. I picked up my cell phone. The screen lit up, 2:34, AM % battery. I had slept for less than 3 hours, but I was already awake. It's always like this with me. I sleep little, wake up tired, go back to sleep, wake up again. My body never truly rests. I sat on the edge of the bed and rubbed my face. My mouth was dry. There was a metallic taste on my tongue. I got up and went to the bathroom to get some water. The tap hissed when I turned it on. The water came out ice cold, with a slight rusty taste. I drank straight from the sink, letting it run down my chin. When I looked up, my reflection in the mirror startled me for a second. Deep dark circles under my eyes, unshaven. I looked 10 years older. The bathroom light flickered. Once. Quickly. I stopped. I looked at the fluorescent light on the ceiling. It was humming softly. It flickered again. Then it stabilized. Great, I murmured. Another thing broken. I went back to the room and lay down again. I pulled the blanket up to my chest and looked at the ceiling. There was a dark, damp stain there, spread out like a bruise. I stared at it, trying to see shapes in it. A face, a hand, anything my tired brain wanted to invent. The air conditioner made a strange noise, a metallic click, then silence. It stopped working. Perfect, I said to myself. The silence that followed was different. It wasn't just an absence of sound. It was a presence, as if the room were listening, as if something were waiting for me to make a noise. I stood motionless. I heard the bathroom faucet dripping. Ping, ping, ping. Rhythmic, constant, irritating. Then I heard something else, something scraping. Light, coming from outside, from the outer corridor. It sounded like something being dragged across the concrete. Slowly, a rough, continuous sound, like a fingernail on sandpaper. I sat on the bed. I listened attentively. The sound stopped. Silence again. I waited. 10 seconds, 20, 30, nothing. Just an animal, I thought, or branches scraping against the wall. But there was no wind. I lay down again. I closed my eyes. I tried to sleep. That's when I heard the footsteps, light steps, small, walking slowly down the outside corridor. Lose, lose, lose. Child's footsteps. I opened my eyes. My heart raced. The footsteps stopped right in front of my door. I froze, staring at the dark wooden door on the other side of the room. A thin line of yellow light streamed through the crack beneath it from the hallway. I could see shadows moving there. Someone was standing on the other side. It must be someone else staying here, I thought. The child can't sleep. They left the room. But it didn't make sense. It was almost 3 a.m, and the footsteps, they were deliberate, as if whoever was there knew exactly where I was. Then the beating began. Tock, tock, tock. 3 light taps. Delicate, almost timid. I didn't move. I didn't answer. Silence. Then again. Talk. 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 This time more insistent, closer, as if the fingers were pressing firmly against the wood. I got out of bed. My bare feet touched the cold floor. I walked slowly to the door, my heart pounding in my chest like a drum. I stopped just inches from her. He could feel a draft of icy air coming from the crack. He could hear breathing on the other side. Light, panting, like someone who had been running. "Who is it?" I asked, my voice hoarser than I expected. Silence. Then the voice answered, a child's voice, high-pitched, trembling. "Young man, may I come in?" I froze it. I stared at the door as if it could give me answers. "It's late," I said. "Go to the reception desk." Silence again. Then the voice returned. Lower, more urgent. "Please, he's coming." My stomach clenched. I looked through the peephole. The hallway was lit by dim, yellowish lamps. The doors to the other rooms were closed. There was no one there, but there was a shadow. Small, distorted, projected onto the hallway wall, as if someone were standing right below the light, outside my field of vision. The shadow did not move. "Where are your parents?" I asked, still looking through the peephole. No response. The shadow slid, slowly, to the left, as if whoever was casting it was moving away. I took a deep breath. I turned the doorknob. I unlocked the door. I opened it. The hallway was empty, completely empty. The cold night air cut in like a blade. I looked around. No open doors, no sound of footsteps receding, no children, nothing. Only the distant hum of lamps and the chirping of crickets in the woods. I left the room and looked at the parking lot. My truck was where I had left it. No other cars. No movement. "Hey!" I called. "Is anyone there?" My voice echoed and died in silence. I stood there, barefoot on the cold concrete, feeling the icy wind chill my skin. I looked at the reception window. The lights were off. No response. I went into the room and closed the door. I locked it. I put on the chain. I leaned against the door, breathing deeply, trying to calm my heart. It must be someone playing a prank, I thought, or a lost child who's already gone back to their room. But my mind wouldn't accept that explanation, because in the shade, the shadow was wrong. It was not human-shaped. I went back to bed. I lay down. I pulled the covers up. I closed my eyes tightly. "You're tired," I repeated to myself. That's all. Tired. The faucet continued to drip in the bathroom, and on the other side of the door, I heard something that made my blood run cold. Light steps, walking back, stopping at my door, and staying there, just waiting. I couldn't sleep after that. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, listening to every sound. The dripping of the tap, the wind in the trees, the creaking of the motel beams, and the footsteps. They stood there for almost 10 minutes, standing still. On the other side of the door, not turning away, not knocking again, just waiting. Then, slowly, I heard the sound fade away. Lose, 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 growing further and further away until it disappears completely. I looked at my cell phone. 3:17 a.m. The battery had died. I got out of bed and turned on the bedside lamp. The dim light filled the room with long, distorted shadows. I went to the window and opened the curtain a little. The parking lot was empty. The pine forest beyond looked like a solid wall of darkness. No movement, no life. I went back to bed and sat on the edge. My hands were trembling slightly, not from fear, not exactly. It was something deeper, an unease, like when you feel something is wrong, but you can't name what it is. It must have been some child from the motel, I said aloud, just to hear my own voice. She got lost. She got scared. Now she's back in her room. But I didn't believe it. Because of your voice. He is coming. Which him? And why would a child say that? Why would they ask to go into a stranger's room in the middle of the night? I shook my head. I was overthinking, creating monsters where there were none. I went to the landline phone on the nightstand, an old beige phone with square buttons. I picked up the handset and dialed 0 to reception. It rang, and it played, and it played. No one answered. I hung up. I waited. I dialed again. More touches. 10, 15. Nothing. Of course, I murmured. Who would answer the reception desk at 3 in the morning? But the discomfort increased. I put the phone back on the hook and went to the bathroom. I needed to wash my face, wake up, clear my head. The light flickered when I turned it on, once, twice, then it stabilized. I turned on the tap and splashed cold water on my face. The water ran down my neck, soaking my t-shirt. I grabbed a towel and dried my face. When I lowered the towel and looked in the mirror, I stopped. My reflection was there. Normal. Tired. Bearded. But, for a split second, I swore I saw something behind me. Something small. Standing at the bathroom door, I turned around abruptly. Nothing. Just an empty room. An unmade bed. A TV turned off. Stop it, I whispered to myself. You're freaking out. I went back to my room and lay down again. I left the bedside lamp on. I didn't want total darkness, not now. I closed my eyes. I took a deep breath. I counted to 10. I was almost asleep when I heard it. Tock, tock, tock. I opened my eyes. The beats again. At the door, this time higher. More insistent. I sat up in bed, my heart racing. Tock, tock, tock. That's enough, I shouted. Whoever you are, stop it. Silence. Then the voice, closer now. As if the mouth were glued to the crack in the door. Young man, please. I need to go in. It was the same child's voice, but there was something different about it now. A tone of desperation, of real urgency. I got up and went to the door. I stood there, looking at the worn wood. Where are your parents? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. He took them. My stomach churned. Who took it? Silence. So low that I could barely hear it. He who comes next. After what? No response. I pressed my ear against the door. I heard breathing on the other side. Rapid, gasping, almost like sobs. Look, I said, trying to sound calm. You need to go back to your room, or go to the reception. I can't help you. You can. As letting me in. Something about the way she said it made me recoil. It wasn't a request. It was a necessity. No, I said. I go away. Silence. Then slowly, almost humming. Okay, but he'll be here soon. The footsteps moved away again. Lose, lose, lose. I leaned against the door, trembling. Not from the cold, from something primal, something my body recognized before my mind did. Danger. I went back to bed, but I didn't lie down. I sat with my back against the headboard, staring intently at the door. The minutes passed, like hours. 3:52 a.m., 4:11 a.m., 4:28 a.m. With each passing minute, the room seemed to grow smaller. The walls drew closer. The air grew thicker. That's when I realized the TV was on. I hadn't called. The screen displayed only static, a gray and white visual hiss. No sound, only the pulsating light filling the room with ghostly shadows. I got up and went to the TV. I pressed the power button. Nothing happened. I pressed it again and again. The TV remained on. I pulled the plug from the socket. The screen remained lit. What the hell? I whispered. That's when I heard, not coming from the door, coming from inside the room, by voice. Young man. I turned around slowly. The voice was coming from the bathroom. Why didn't you let me in? I froze it. I looked at the bathroom door. It was ajar. Absolute darkness on the other side. This isn't real, I said aloud. This isn't real. He's already here. My blood ran cold. I looked at the bedroom door. It was locked, chained. How did she get in? How did she get in? Get out of here, I yelled. Get out! The bathroom light turned on by itself, and in the door frame, projected onto the floor, a shadow. Small. From a child. But the shadow had no head. She was crooked, elongated, broken at impossible angles. And it was growing. Slowly. Coming towards me. I backed up until my back hit the wall. The shadow stopped growing. It stayed there, motionless, projected onto the bedroom floor like a spilled ink stain. My breathing was rapid, out of control. I could hear my own heart pounding in my ears. This isn't real, I repeated. It's not real. I blinked. Once. Twice. A sombra continued wings. I looked at the bathroom door. The light was on, but I couldn't see anything beyond the door frame. It was as if the darkness inside was denser than the light. Is anyone there? I asked, my voice weak and trembling. No response. I took a deep breath. I tried to think rationally. Okay, let's think about it, I said aloud. I needed to hear my own voice. The TV won't turn off. The bathroom light turned on by itself. Old electrical wiring. These things happen. More shade. Shadows are projections of light, I continued. Something is blocking the light. An object. A towel hung incorrectly. Anything. I took a step towards the bathroom. My body resisted. Every instinct screamed at me not to go there, but I needed to prove to myself that I wasn't going crazy. One more step. The shadow did not move. Another step. My hand reached for the bathroom door frame. I touched the cold wood. I pushed slowly. The door opened completely. The bathroom was empty. Nothing was hanging from the shower curtain. Nothing was on the sink. Nothing that could have cast that shadow. I looked back. The shadow was still on the ground. Impossible. I ran my hand over my forehead. I was sweating cold. My legs were trembling. You're tired, I said. 14 hours of driving. Stress. The divorce. Ethan. Your brain is making things up. That was it. It had to be that way. Hallucination due to exhaustion. I'd already read about it. Long-distance drivers who start seeing things on the road. Shadows that aren't there. People who appear and disappear. I just need to sleep properly, I whispered. I went back to bed. I ignored the shadow. I ignored the static on the TV. I ignored everything. I lay on my side, my back to the bathroom. I pulled the blanket up to my chin. I closed my eyes tightly. Just a nightmare, I murmured. It will pass. I stayed like that for minutes that felt like hours. My breathing slowed down. My body relaxed. Exhaustion outweighed fear. I was almost asleep when I heard the sound. A drag. Slow. Heavy. Coming from inside the bathroom. Something being dragged across the tiled floor. I opened my eyes, but I didn't turn around. I froze, lying on my side, staring at the wall. The sound continued, closer. Arrast. Like something wet being pulled. It stopped. Absolute silence. Then I heard the breathing. Heavy. Damp. Right behind me. It's not happening, I whispered. It's not happening. But I could feel it. Something was standing behind me, near the bed. Observing. I closed my eyes tightly. I counted to 10. I took a deep breath. When I turn around, there won't be anything there. I counted to 3, and I turned around. Nothing. The room was empty. The bathroom door was still open. The light was still on. The TV was still showing static. But the shadow on the ground, I had moved to a different location. Now I was at the foot of the bed, as if the person who designed it had moved. My heart raced again. No, no, no! I got out of bed. I went to the bedroom door. I tried to open it. The doorknob turned, but the door didn't budge. I tried again. I pushed with my shoulder. Nothing. It was locked, but not from the inside. "What the hell?" I yelled. I banged on the door. "Hey, someone! The door is locked!" No response. I went to the window. I tried to open it. Also locked. I looked through the fogged glass. The parking lot remained empty. The woods were still. This can't be happening. I grabbed the chair. I thought about breaking the window. But then I saw something in the reflection of the glass. Behind me, in the corner of the room. Something small. Stopped. I turned around abruptly. The corner was empty. I looked at the glass again. The figure was still there. In the reflection, a child. Costs. Long, dark hair, dirty white dress, standing still in the corner, completely motionless. But when I looked directly at the corner, nothing. "My God," I whispered. I turned back to the glass. The child had turned around. Now I was facing it, but the face, there was no face, just a blur, as if someone had run their hand over a still wet painting. And then she spoke, not with the mouth. The voice came from everywhere at once. "Why didn't you stop?" I froze it. "What?" "That night, on the road, why didn't you stop?" My stomach churned. I don't know what you're talking about." "Yes, you know, and I knew it. 2 years ago. Highway 67 dawn, raining. I had run over something. A dull thud. The truck swayed slightly. I glanced in the rearview mirror. I saw something on the asphalt. Dark, motionless. I thought it was a dog, a raccoon, something small. I should have stopped, but I didn't stop. I had a deadline, a delivery date, a boss who didn't tolerate delays, so I moved on, and I tried to forget. I thought it was an animal, I whispered. It wasn't. I felt my legs go weak. No, I would have seen it. I would have felt it. You felt it, and you moved on. I didn't know. Did you know? Tears burned my eyes. Please, stop it. I was in the back seat. I froze it. What? The abandoned car. You saw it. Stopped on the side of the road. Lights off. You thought, someone will come back for it. And you drove off. My mind went back to that night. There was a car, an old sedan. The driver's side door was open. It was raining. I thought about stopping, checking, helping, but I was late and tired and... No, I whispered. There was no one here. He pulled me out of the car. He dragged me onto the road. You drove by and didn't see. You didn't want to see. I didn't know. He got me. Because of you. The lights in the room flickered, and when they returned, the child was no longer in the reflection. She was standing in the middle of the room. In truth, looking at me. No face. And behind her, a larger shadow. Much bigger. Starting to take shape. I pressed my back against the window. The child didn't move. She remained there, standing in the center of the room, her white dress stained with something dark that dripped onto the floor. The blur where her face should have been seemed to pulsate, as if trying to form features, and behind her, in the shade, it wasn't just an absence of light, it was something solid, dense, a presence that sucked up the light around it, tall, very tall, touching the ceiling, without a defined shape, but with weight, with intention. "This isn't real," I repeated, my voice coming out as a hoarse whisper. "You're not here." The child tilted her head to the side, slowly, at the wrong angle. "But you brought me." "No, I didn't do anything." "You opened the door." "I didn't open it. I didn't let you in." "But you thought about that." My chest tightened. "When I knocked, you wanted to open it. You hesitated, and that's enough." "No, it doesn't work like that. It works here." The shadow behind her moved, slowly, like heavy smoke sliding across the ground. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice breaking. The child took a step towards me. "I want to leave." "Then get out. The door is right there." "I can't leave, unless someone comes in." My blood froze. "What are you talking about?" "He needs someone. He always needs someone. When someone new arrives, someone old might leave." I looked at the giant shadow. It remained motionless, but I could feel it. It was watching me, waiting. "Who is he?" I whispered. The child did not answer. They simply tilted their head to the other side. "You know who he is. You've always known." "No, I don't know anything. He is the one who comes next." "After what?" "After you choose not to see." The words hit me like a punch. "I didn't choose anything," I said, but my voice lacked strength. "You saw the car, you saw the open door, and you kept going. You chose not to stop. You chose not to look. And when you choose not to see, he sees for you." The shadow grew. It filled the ceiling. The walls began to darken, as if the light were being drained away. "I didn't know," I shouted. "I didn't know anyone was there." "But you suspected it." And it was true. That night, as I passed the abandoned car, something inside me whispered, "Stop, look, help." And I ignored it, because I was tired, because I was late, because I didn't want to get involved. And now, "Is she dead because of me?" I whispered. The child did not respond. The shadow behind her rippled, and for the first time, I saw something inside her. Eyes. No, they weren't eyes. They were absences, holes, emptiness that stared back at me. My legs gave way. I fell to my knees. "What do you want from me?" I cried. The child crouched down in front of me, so close I could see the stains on her dress. Blood. Dirt. Something worse. "I already told you. I want to leave." "As you let him take something else." "What thing?" She held out her hand. Small, pale, thin fingers. Something glistened in the palm. My cell phone. But it wasn't my phone. It was his lock screen. A photo to Ethan, my son, smiling, holding an ice cream. "No," I whispered. "He accepts substitutions." "No!" I pushed her hand away. I stood up, staggering. "You will not touch him. Never!" The child recoiled. The shadow behind her roared. It wasn't sound. It was pressure, as if the air had become too heavy to breathe. "Then you stay. I'll stay. But leave him alone." The child tilted its head. "You say that now. But when he comes, you'll beg." "Who? Who's coming?" She pointed to the bathroom door. "He." And then I heard it. Steps. Heavy, slow, dragged, coming from inside the bathroom. Thump, thump, thump. Each step made the ground tremble. The bathroom door started closing on its own, slowly, centimeter by centimeter, and in the darkness beyond, something was moving. Something huge. Something that shouldn't exist. "My God," I whispered. The child retreated until disappearing into the shadows. He doesn't like to wait." The bathroom door closed completely. For a second, total silence. After, the doorknob began to turn. Slowly. Inside. No. 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 The door opened. The bathroom was dark. completely black, no light, no reflections. And from the inside, something came out, not walking, sliding, tall, stooped, arms too long, fingers touching the ground, no face, just a smooth surface, white, like cracked porcelain. And when he tilted his head toward me, I heard my own voice. "Marcus, why didn't you help me?" It was my voice, getting out of that thing. My stomach churned. I vomited. The creature advanced. I ran to the door. I banged on it. I kicked it. I yelled, "Help! Someone! Get me out of here!" Things were getting closer and closer. I felt his cold hand touch my shoulder. And then, everything went dark. I woke up on the floor. Sunlight streaming in through the window. I looked around. The room was normal. Bed unmade. TV off. Bathroom door open. Light off. I got up, staggering. My head was throbbing. My throat burned. I looked at the clock on the wall. 7:42 a.m. "It was a dream," I whispered. "Just a nightmare." But when I looked at my hands, they were dirty, from the land, and dried blood. And on the bathroom door, written in something dark, a message. 3 words. "He is waiting." I stood there, paralyzed, staring at the words on the door. "He is waiting." Written with something thick, dark brown, almost black. I raised my hands, dirt under my fingernails, stains on my palms. I smelled a metallic odor in the air. "No," I whispered. This can't be real." My heart was pounding erratically. I looked around the room, searching for what? Evidence that it had been a dream. Proof that it had been real. The bathroom door was open. Sunlight streamed in through the window, illuminating the white tiles, the shower curtain, and the sink. Everything's normal, but the words remained there. I walked slowly to the bathroom. Each step was heavy. I stopped in the doorway and looked inside. Empty. No shadows. No creatures. Just a dirty motel bathroom. I looked at the sink, at the mirror. My reflection stared back at me. Deep, dark circles under my eyes. Pale face. Dried sweat on my forehead. I turned on the tap and washed my hands. The water came out ice cold. I scrubbed hard, trying to remove the dirt and blood. It didn't come out completely. Stains persisted, especially under the nails. "What have I done?" I whispered to my reflection. "What happened?" My reflection didn't respond. But for a second, for just a fraction of a second, I swore I saw something behind me in the mirror. I turned around quickly. Nothing. I went back to my room. I grabbed my backpack. I needed to get out of there. Now. I went to the door. I turned the doorknob. It opened easily. I went out into the outside hallway. The sunlight blinded me. I blinked several times, letting my eyes adjust. The parking lot looked different now. 2 cars besides my truck, a white minivan, an old blue sedan. Life, normality. I looked at the other rooms. Doors closed, curtains drawn. I walked to the reception area. The glass door had a bell that rang when I entered. Behind the counter, a woman different from the night before. Younger, maybe 30 years old. Red hair tied in a ponytail. She smiled when she saw me. "Good morning. How was your night?" I kept staring at her. How would I explain it? "It was good," I lied. "Listen, that woman who was here last night, the older lady, is she here?" The receptionist frowned. "An older woman. I'm the only one who works here. I've been here since 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon." My stomach clenched. "No. There was a lady, gray hair. She gave me the key to room 12. The woman looked at the computer. She typed something. "Sir, you've been in room 7 since yesterday." "What?" No, it's room 12. It's written on the keychain. I showed them the key. She looked. The number engraved on the green plastic. 7. No, 12. But I saw, I began. Are you all right, sir? She asked, genuine concern in her voice. Would you like some water? Coffee? I shook my head. No, I just need to leave. Sure, checkout is until 11, but if you want to leave now, no problem. I nodded. I staggered back to the room, to room 7. I went in. It was identical to what I remembered, but when I looked at the bathroom door, there was nothing written. Clean, white, normal. I whispered. Well, I saw the words, but there was nothing. I grabbed my backpack. I threw my things inside. I needed to leave. I needed to get away from this place. As I was about to leave, my gaze fell upon the nightstand. There was something there that wasn't there before. A photograph. Old. Faded. Yellowed edges. I picked it up with trembling hands. She was a girl, maybe 6 or 7 years old. White dress. Long, dark hair. Smiling at the camera. Behind her, a car. An old sedan. My blood froze. I turned the photo over. There was something written on the back. Faded blue ink. Emily Cordell, 2023. Emily Cordell. The name that the news mentioned last night. The missing child. My hands began to tremble violently. I looked at the photo again. At the car behind it. I recognized that car. It was the abandoned car. What I saw that night. On Highway 67. 2 years ago. No, I whispered. It can't be. But it was. Everything connected. The child at the door. The voice. The accusations. Why didn't you stop? Because I saw that car. I saw the open door. And I kept going. And she was there. Inside. Or nearby. And someone. He pulled me out of the car. He dragged me onto the road. I fell back onto the bed, the photograph trembling in my hands. If I had stopped, if I had checked, if I had called the police, she would still be alive. Tears burned my eyes. I didn't know, I whispered. My God, I didn't know. But a part of me knew. A part of me sensed that something was wrong, and I ignored it. Because it was easier. Because I was tired. Because it wasn't my problem. And a child died because of it. My phone vibrated. I picked it up with trembling hands. The screen lit up. A message from an unknown number. Just 3 words. He's coming today. My heart raced. I looked around the room. Empty. But I felt it. He was being watched. I typed quickly. Who are you? The answer came immediately. You know who I am. Another message. And you know what he wants. What does he want? I typed. The response took a while. Dots blinking. Then, you. My phone turned itself off. It didn't run out of battery. It simply turned off. I tried calling again. Nothing. Died. I got up. I grabbed my backpack. I left the room. I went straight to the truck. I threw my backpack on the seat. I got in. I started the engine. He caught it on the first lap. Thank God. I left the parking lot. I took the back road back to the highway. He was driving fast, too fast, but I didn't care. I needed to get away from that place. I reached the highway. I turned right. I accelerated. I looked in the rearview mirror. The motel was getting smaller, disappearing. I took a deep breath. I tried to calm down. It's over, I said aloud. And it's over. It was just a phase. Exhaustion. Paranoia. It's gone now. But when I looked in the rearview mirror again, there was someone in the back seat, a child, white dress, looking at me, no face. I slammed on the brakes. The truck skidded, its tires screeching on the asphalt. Cars honked behind me. I managed to pull over to the side of the road, my heart pounding in my chest. I turned to the back seat, empty, completely empty. Just my backpack thrown there. No, 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 I repeated, gripping the steering wheel so tightly that my fingers turned white. I looked in the rearview mirror again. Nothing. But I had seen it. I had seen it clearly. A child, sitting, looking at me. I took a deep breath. I tried to calm down. You didn't sleep well. You're seeing things. That's all. But my voice didn't convince even myself. I picked up my cell phone. It was still dead. I looked for the charger in my backpack. I plugged it into the dashboard outlet. The screen did not light up. Come on, I whispered. Nothing. I threw my cell phone onto the passenger seat. I needed to keep going. I needed to get to Oklahoma City, deliver the cargo, go back home. Home. Where was home now? The empty apartment I used to rent, the place where I slept between trips. This wasn't a house. It was just where I kept my things. I shook my head. It wasn't the time for that. I went back to the road. I drove for 20 minutes, 30. The highway was quiet. The sun was fully rising now. Blue sky, light traffic, normal. Everything's normal. Except that every time I looked in the side mirror, I saw something out of the corner of my eye. A shadow, small, in the back seat. But when I looked directly, nothing. "Stop it!" I shouted. "Stop it!" My voice echoed in the cabin. That's when I heard it. A laugh, low, childish, coming from behind me. I stepped on the brake again, more gently this time. I pulled over to a gas station. I turned off the engine. Silence. I slowly turned towards the back seat. Empty. But in the upholstery, there was something. Something wet, like small footprints, damp, dark, leading from the door to where the child would have been sitting. "No," I whispered. "Get out of the truck." I opened the back door. The marks were there. Real, visible. I touched one of them. My finger got damp. I lifted it. I smelled it. Earth. And something metallic. Blood. I backed away. I hit my back against the side of the truck. "She's in the truck," I whispered. She got into the truck. I looked around the gas station. Some people were filling up their tanks. A family with children was going into the convenience store. A man was cleaning his windshield. Normal life, normal people. And there I was, seeing things that shouldn't exist. "You need help," I told myself. "You need to go to a hospital. This isn't real." But the marks were real. I went back to the cabin. I started the engine. I needed to keep going. The longer I stayed still, the worse it would get. I drove. Kilometers passed. Signs, exits, other cities, and every few minutes, I would look in the rearview mirror. And each time, the shadow was clearer, more defined, more solid, until finally. She was no longer just a shadow. It was her. Sitting in the back seat, dirty white dress, hair covering her face, small hands in her lap. Property. Just there. I didn't look directly. I kept driving. Eyes on the road. "You're not here," I said. "You're not real." She didn't answer, but in the rearview mirror, I saw his head move, slowly, lifting, as if it were looking at me. "What do you want?" I asked, my voice trembling. Silence. Then, her voice. So close it felt like she was whispering in my ear. "Stop the truck." "No. Stop the truck." "Why?" "Because he's on the road." I looked ahead. The highway was empty. No cars, no obstacles. There's nothing there. Not yet. And then, on the horizon, something appeared. A figure. in the middle of the track. Tall, curved, immobile. "No," I whispered. I accelerated. I tried to swerve. The figure did not move. It was getting closer and closer. 100 meters, 50, 20. I turned the steering wheel sharply. The truck went off the road. Grass, dirt. I managed to brake in time. I stopped with a jolt. My heart was racing. Sweat was streaming down my face. I looked out the window. The figure had disappeared. Nothing on the road. I looked again in the rearview mirror. The child was still there. But now, she was smiling. No, it wasn't a smile. It was something worse. Her mouth was open, too wide. Her jaw dislocated, showing dark teeth. "You can't run away from him. What does he want from me? I already told you. He wants what you didn't return. I didn't take anything. You took my life." Tears burned my eyes. "I didn't know. I swear I didn't know. But you suspected it, and you chose not to look. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." I slammed my hands on the steering wheel. I cried, violent sobs. "I'm so sorry," I repeated through tears. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry." The child remained silent. Then her voice became softer, almost gentle. "I know." I looked up. I glanced in the rearview mirror. She was tilting her head, watching me. "But he doesn't care." "What do I do?" I whispered. "Tell me what to do. You'll be back." "Go back. To where?" "Back to where it all began. The motel. The road." My stomach churned. "Highway 67. Where did you leave me?" No, I can't. You need to." His voice echoed. It pierced my mind like a blade. "If you don't come back, he'll come for you, wherever you are, and he'll take what's left." I thought of Ethan, my son. "He won't touch him," I whispered. "Then come back." I stayed there, sitting, breathing heavily. And then what? If I go back, what happens? The child did not respond. When I looked in the rearview mirror again, she had disappeared. Just the damp marks on the seat and on the rear window, written from the inside. Tonight, I was stopped on the shoulder of the road for almost an hour. Cars drove by, trucks honked, the sun rose in the sky, but I couldn't move. My mind was in a loop. It kept returning to the same night. 2 years ago. The rain, the abandoned car, the feeling that something was wrong. And I chose to ignore it. I picked up my phone, still dead. Not even the charging light came on. I played back on the bench. "Highway 67, I whispered. "She wants me to go back to Highway 67. But why go back? To find what? He. The word echoed in my head. It wasn't my voice. It was hers. I started the engine. My hands were trembling on the steering wheel. I needed to decide. To move on. To try to live with it. With the visions. With the guilt. With the certainty that something was following me, or go back and face whatever was waiting for him. I looked in the rearview mirror, empty bench, but the marks were still there. Damp, dark, real. I returned. I went back along the highway. I passed the gas station, the motel. I continued on, looking for the license plate. Highway 67. It took 2 hours to find the access. A secondary road, narrow, surrounded by dense trees on both sides, cracked asphalt. Few road signs. It was Wings. I took a deep breath and went inside. The road was empty. No cars, no houses, just trees and silence. I drove slowly, observing, trying to remember. Where was it? Where did I see the car? Everything seemed the same. Everything seemed different. Then I saw a sharp bend, a stretch where the road narrowed, and on the shoulder, tire tracks. Old, faded, but still visible. I stopped the truck. I looked around. There was nothing left. No abandoned cars. No evidence that anything had happened there. But I knew. It was here. I got out of the truck. My feet touched the cold asphalt. The wind blew through the trees, making the leaves whisper. I walked to the side of the road, to the markings. I crouched down, I touched the asphalt, and then I felt it, a pressure in my chest, as if something were pushing me. I stood up. I looked around. The trees seemed closer, taller, closing in on the road. The sky was darkening, but it wasn't night. It was just an absence of light, as if something were draining the light. "She's here," I whispered. "I'm here. What do you want?" Silence. After, a sound. Low, distant, coming from the trees. Steps, heavy, slow, dragging. Thump, thump, thump. I froze it. The sound was getting louder, closer, coming from all sides at once. "Emily," I called, my voice weak. "Emily, I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I swear that..." The footsteps stopped. Total silence. Neither wind nor birds. Nothing. Then I heard her voice, but it didn't come from the trees. It came from inside the truck. "He is here." I turned around slowly. The truck was just a few meters away. Doors closed, but inside, something was moving. A shadow, large, filling the cabin. "No," I whispered. The driver's side door opened by itself, and from the inside. He left, not walking, unfolding, as if it had been squeezed into an impossible space. Tall, so tall that he had to bend down to get through the door. Long arms, fingers that touched the ground, thin legs, misaligned joints, and the head, Lisa, white, like porcelain. No eyes, no mouth, no nose, just an empty surface. But I knew. He was looking at me. I stepped back. I stumbled. I fell on the asphalt. He took a step towards me. The ground shook. Another step. Closer. "What do you want?" I yelled. "What do you want?" He stopped. He tilted his head, and then he spoke. Not with one voice, with hundreds of them, all at once, overlapping, echoing. Men, women, children. They were all whispering the same thing. "You!" I tried to stand up. My legs wouldn't obey. He took another step. I was just meters away now. I managed to crawl backward, my hands scraping against the asphalt. "I'm so sorry!" I shouted. "I'm so sorry for what I did. It doesn't matter. Please, I have a son. He needs me." The voices laughed, a horrible sound, broken. "He's needed you for 2 years." I froze it. "No, it wasn't my son. It was her." "Do you think she was the first?" My blood ran cold. "Do you think that was the last one?" He crouched down. His smooth face was inches from mine. "How many times did you stop, Marcus?" My mind raced. Other nights, other trips, other moments where I saw something and chose to ignore it. A man on the side of the road, in the early morning, waving. I didn't stop. A woman leaning against a car, flat tire, rain. I didn't stop. An accident, smoke, distant sirens. I didn't stop. You always move forward. Tears streamed down my face. I was tired. I was in a hurry. You chose. He extended his hand, long fingers, white, cold. "And now I choose you." His hand touched my chest. I felt it, cold, deep, penetrating. It was as if my heart was freezing from the inside out. I screamed. I tried to get away, but I couldn't move. The hand pressed harder. And then, not with my eyes, inside my mind. Emily, in the car, scared, waiting for her mother, who had gone out to get help. A man approached, smiling, saying he was going to help. She's getting out of the car. He's grabbing her, dragging. She was screaming. Nobody's listening. And then, my headlights. In the distance, she sees hope. Help! Please! Help! But I didn't hear. I passed, and he took her, for the trees, into the darkness. And then, I saw the others. So many others. People who asked for help, which I ignored. Some survived. Some did not. And this thing. She fed on that. Of choice. Of indifference. Of coldness. You empower me every time you choose not to see. The hand tightened. My chest was burning. It was freezing. It was stinging. And now, you joined them. My vision went dark. I heard voices. Distant voices, calling my name. Ethan. Sarah. My mother. Everyone is moving away. Until a light. Small. Weak. Emily, standing next to him. Looking at me. And she whispered something that only I could hear. You can still choose. The pain in my chest subsided for a moment. I managed to breathe, gasping, desperate. The creature was still crouched over me, its hand pressing against my chest, but something had changed. Emily was standing beside her. Her white dress was dirty, her hair covered part of her face, but now I could see his eyes. Brown, sad, tired. You can still choose. Yes, she repeated. Choose what? I managed to whisper through the pain. The creature tilted its head. The voices echoed again. She wants to give you a chance. Why? Emily stepped forward. Because you came. You returned. No one ever returns. I didn't know what to do. But you came back. She crouched down beside me, so close I could see the stains on her dress. Dirt. Dried blood. Something worse. He feeds on people like you. People who see and do nothing. People who choose comfort over courage. I know I was a coward, but you're here now. She looked at the creature, at him. He wants to take you, but I can make a trade. My heart raced. What kind of exchange? Emily held out her hand. Something glistened in her palm. An image. No. A projection, like a hologram. Ethan, my son, sleeping, in his room, hugging the teddy bear I gave him for his 5th birthday. No, I whispered. No. You can't. I can't, she said softly. But he can. The creature tilted its head again. The voices whispered. A life for another, a son for a father. It's always worked that way. No, I yelled. You're not going to touch him. I tried to get up. His hand pressed harder. The pain returned. More intense. I screamed. Either you choose him, Emily continued, or you choose something else. What? What more can I give? She pointed to the road behind me. I turned my head with difficulty. I saw something forming in the darkness between the trees. Other people, shadows, silhouettes, walking slowly, men, women, children, all those I didn't help, everyone I ignored. You can bring them back, Emily whispered, as staying in their place. I looked at her, at the creature, at the shadows drawing closer. I don't understand. He imprisons people. He keeps them here, trapped the moment they were abandoned, reliving it again and again and again. My stomach churned. But if someone chooses to stay, of their own free will, they need to let the others go. Why? Because that's the rule. It feeds on choice, on indifference. But when someone chooses sacrifice, when someone chooses to see, it loses power. I looked at the shadows. There were so many. How many people have I ignored in my life? How many times did I look away? And if I choose to stay, what happens to me? Emily lowered her eyes. You're trapped. Here. In this moment. Reliving your choice. Forever. What about Ethan? He is free. Safe. Everyone is. I close my eyes. Tears stream down my face. But I'll never see my son again. No. He will grow up without a father. He's already growing up without a father. Her voice became softer. You said it yourself. You're just tired. You're not present. You're not really there. The words hurt more than the hand on my chest, because they were true. When was the last time I really saw Ethan? Not just looked at him, but saw him. When was the last time I stopped? When was the last time I chose to stay? Perhaps you could be more useful here. Emily whispered. Freeing others. Giving them the chance you didn't give me. I opened my eyes. I looked at her. At the creature. At the waiting shadows. And you, if I choose this, are you also set free? Emily smiled. A sad smile. Small. Try. Can you go where you're supposed to be? Try. I took a deep breath. My mind raced. Ethan. Sarah. My mother. My life. Everything I would leave behind. But what did I really have? An empty apartment. Endless deliveries. Lonely nights. Unanswered calls. I was already lost. Maybe this was the only time I would truly choose something that mattered. If I do this, my voice came out weak. Will Ethan be safe? Do you promise? The creature's voices echoed. Quieter now. We promise. I looked at Emily. And you, will you be okay? She nodded. I go. I closed my eyes. I saw Ethan's face, his smile, his laugh. I'm sorry, son, I whispered. I'm sorry for not being the father you deserved. I opened my eyes. I looked directly at the creature. I'll stay. Let them go. The creature remained motionless for a long moment. After, slowly, he removed his hand from my chest. The cold has disappeared. I was able to breathe. The creature stood up. Tall. Immense. Looking down. You chose to see. Try. You chose sacrifice. Try. Then so be it. He raised his arms. The shadows around began to glow. Slowly. Softly. One by one. They disappeared. Dissolving into light. Rising. Going away. Freed. Emily was the last one. She crouched down beside me once more. Thanks, he whispered. Go, I said. Go where you're supposed to be. She touched my hand. Her fingers were warm, real. You made the right choice. And then she disappeared too. I was left alone. With him. The creature looked at me. Without eyes. But I could feel it. Now you're mine. I know. Forever. I know. He extended his hand. I got. And listen. The world is falling apart. The road. The trees. The sky. Everything is going dark. Until only that night. The rain. The abandoned car. The choice. And I was trapped in it. Forever. Reviving. Choosing again. And again. And again. Until maybe, one day, I finally made the right choice. 6 months later. Sarah was in the kitchen preparing dinner when the phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick it up. Hello? Silence on the other end. Only light breathing. Hello? Who is it? Then a voice, distant, as if it came from very far away. Sarah. She froze. I recognized that voice. Marcus. More silence. After, take care of him, please. Take care of our son. Marcus, where are you? The police have been looking for you for months. Your truck was found abandoned in... I know where he was found. What happened? Where are you? I can't explain, but I need you to know I'm so sorry for everything, for not being there, for failing you. Tears filled her eyes. Marcus, whatever happened, we can fix it. Come home. Ethan asks about you every day. I can't go back, Sarah. Why not? Because I made a choice, and I need to live with it. What choice? What are you talking about? Silence. Then, so quietly that she could barely hear it. Take care of him, and tell him that his father loves you, even from afar. Marcus, the call dropped. Sarah stood still, the phone trembling in her hand. He tried to call back. This number is out of service. Ethan was drawing in the living room when Sarah walked in. Who was on the phone? Mom. She hesitated. Nobody. Love. Wrong number. Ethan went back to drawing. Sarah approached. She looked over his shoulder. It stopped. The drawing showed a man, tall, standing next to a truck, and next to the man, a small child, in a dress. Who is that? Sarah asked, pointing to the child. She's Dad's friend, Ethan said simply. Amiga. She appeared in my dream yesterday. She said that Dad is helping other people now. That he can't come back, but that he's okay. Sarah felt a shiver run down her spine. What was she like? Ethan thought for a moment. She had long hair and a white dress. She was nice. She said that Daddy is a hero. Sarah crouched down beside her son. Ethan, are you sure it was just a dream? The boy looked at her, big eyes, innocent. I think so, but it seemed real. He went back to the drawing. She said something strange. What? He said that Dad finally stopped. On the road, a driver was driving alone on Highway 67. Early morning, light rain. He was tired. He wanted to get there soon, to finish the delivery. So you saw a car, stopped on the shoulder, door open, emergency lights flashing. The driver slowed down. Someone needs help, he thought. But he was late and tired, and it wasn't his problem. I was about to accelerate when he saw something in the rearview mirror. A man, standing on the road behind him, the same place where the car was, observing. The driver stopped. He looked closer. The man was ordinary, leather jacket, unshaven, tired eyes, but there was something in the way he looked, as if he knew, as if he were asking for it. Don't make the same mistake I did. The driver didn't hear the words, but he felt them. He took a deep breath. He stopped the truck. He reversed. He went back to the abandoned car. There was a woman sitting in the driver's seat, injured, scared. Are you okay? He asked. She looked at him, tears in her eyes. I hit it. My phone died. I thought no one would stop. Everything is all right now. I'll take you to a hospital. He helped her. He called for help. He stayed until the ambulance arrived. And when it was all over, he looked to the place where he had seen the man. He was still there. But now, she was smiling, a small smile, sad, but real. And then, it disappeared, like smoke in the wind. In the darkness, Marcus was standing still, always reliving it. The rain, the car, the choice. But something had changed. Every time someone stopped, every time someone chose to help, he could feel it. A light. Small. Distant. Crescendo. You are making a difference, a voice whispered. Emily, she was still there. Not imprisoned, but visiting, helping. Every person who stops, every person who chooses to watch, you get closer. Closer to what? Marcus asked. to be free. He looked at her, or at where he thought she was. I thought it would last forever. He said it would be, but he's lying. Nothing lasts forever when there's hope. How long will it take? She smiled. He could feel it. Take all the time you need, but you're not alone. And she was right. Because every time someone stopped, every time someone chose courage over convenience, Marcus felt the weight lighten, the chains loosened, the darkness recedes. I didn't know how long it would take. Years, decades, more. But he would wait. Because for the first time in my life, he had made the right choice. And that meant something. Years later, Ethan was 18 years old when he decided to travel. He hit the road, alone, wanting time to think. He was on Highway 67 when he saw it. A car stopped. Emergency lights on. I was about to pass by when he remembered the drawing she made as a child, the story the child in the white dress told in her dream. Dad finally stopped. Ethan slowed down. He stopped the car. He reversed. There was a man standing next to the broken-down car, older, frightened. "Do you need help?" Ethan asked. The man looked at him, relieved. "My cell phone died. I didn't know what to do." "No problem. I'll get help for you." While they waited, Ethan sensed something strange, a presence, warm, familiar. He looked around, and for a brief moment, it saw a man standing on the side of the road, looking at him. Leather jacket, stubble, kind eyes, smiling. Ethan felt tears burning his eyes without knowing why. "Dad," she whispered. The man waved, and it disappeared, as if he had never been there before. But Ethan knew. Somehow, he knew. His father had been there, observing, proud, and finally, book. If you listen to the end, leave a comment. I stopped, because sometimes, the scariest thing isn't what's coming after us. It's what we leave behind. Subscribe for more stories that will make you question your choices, because every choice has a price, and some last forever.